Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 5:30 in the morning on a Saturday. Recording 5:30 in the morning on a Saturday means it is time. On Saturday mornings, we like to do a little thing where we pull a toy from the toy box, a random object from the Random Object Randomogrifier, and we draw it and spritz these watercolors so that they're nice and juicy, moist. I want them creamy when it's time to use them later. I want them to be easy just to tap, tap, tap in, not have to scrub them. So anyway, we pull a toy from the toy box and we draw it. We talk about it. This morning's toy, goodness, that music is distracting. This morning's toy is a pirate's chest. Chest of booty. Shake your booty. And this particular item is purely fictional, or fictional for the most part. This particular item. My mom and dad in their chat. Hi, good morning, Dad. Good morning, Mom. Ivy said her alarm was set too. This particular item is full of doubloons. Spanish doubloons are double-sided coins. They're double the amount of I forget the coin. It's a little silver coin. Anyways, the reason they've got the name doubloon, maybe somebody in the chat could look up they're double something. Maybe somebody in the chat could look up what they're double. But they weigh 6.8 grams of gold apiece, which means this chest is hundreds of pounds. This chest would have been hundreds of pounds, and gold doubloons would have been very difficult to move. And I don't just mean move like they're heavy to carry. I mean move like people would notice they were using them. That would be very obvious, because the coin of the realm was, silver. Everybody at the time was using silver. And so using gold doubloons would have been very obvious if they were trying to be discreet, if they were trying to hide the fact that they stole them, if they were trying to not have somebody else steal them from them. That would be very difficult to do with doubloons. So they were very heavy. They weren't very popular, and they were very obvious. So it's not too likely that pirates would do this. Most likely pirates would be more interested in small bags in silver, in weapons, in alcohol, in trading women, but they wouldn't bring women on board ships because that was bad luck. My dog is whimpering. I don't know why my dog is whimpering. Trying to remember if they were both in the house. So the composition went fairly quick because it's just a box, right? The composition part is where you try to make sure everything you want to draw fits on your page. There's not even a whole lot of perspective because it's such a small item. There's not even a whole lot of perspective on it. But yeah, the interesting thing about the gold, the doubloons, as doubloons, you know, as Spanish doubloons go, if you found some, there are collectors that would pay thousands of dollars for a single doubloon. But that's collectors, right? Would they really be worth that? Because I did some research and discovered that a doubloon back in the day would get you a horse, one doubloon. Get you a horse, get you a week's wages for a servant, maybe buy you a small acreage. And it turns out that today, that amount of gold would still buy you about those same things. That 6.3 ounces of gold would still be about a week's wages. That 6.3 ounces of gold would still make your house payment for the week, mostly, for most of us. It's still, the gold itself is still worth exactly what it was, almost exactly what it was worth at the time. Pencil lead broke. Which I thought was very interesting. Because gold today is worth so many thousands of more dollars than it was back then. But it's not the gold that's worth more, it's the dollars are worth less. It is the problem with printing money. I'm not going to try and draw each individual point. When the countries started going off the gold standard, countries used to have printed gold or printed money, and the printed money was in the amount of gold that they had in reserve. And in an effort to pay off their war debts, they decided that they could print more money. And so they took themselves off the gold standard. Even though the British pound is still the British pound sterling, which used to be silver, the British pound is no longer tied to a precious metal. It's just printed by how many they decide to print this year. And it's the same with the US dollar and almost every currency now. And the problem, as you can tell with that, is the more dollars you have, the less they're worth. Because they're not tied to any tangible item. So you can just print as many as you want. And that's fine for paying debts in the past. But it makes it impossible for young people to buy a house. Sorry, you can't talk, Harding. That perspective is whack. I can't believe I did that. There's not much perspective. It's a small item. But there should be just a little bit of perspective. My mom is giggling at something. I don't know what she's giggling at. My mom had me on mute. She didn't know what she didn't know I couldn't hear. Yeah, the U.S. stopped using the gold standard in 1933. She said that in the chat. I bet that means she went and looked up what I asked a while ago about what the two coins, the doubloon were supposed to represent too. So anyway, fiat currency is the devil. Let's skip on past that. Fiat currency is why a horse used to cost 1 doubloon back in 1500, and a horse and a horse still costs 1 doubloon today, which is about $15,000. My mom says she typed doubloon into her computer, and her computer turned into French. You see how I just erased all that gold? That's what happens when you print money. Yeah. Hang on just a second. I got to put that gold back in there. All right. Now let's see where we are. Now I think we're okay. All right. So again, pirates should have used silver, weapons, alcohol, slaves. Some pirates traded for slaves. One of the most famous pirates was it Blackbeard. I think one of the most famous pirates was known for overtaking slave vessels and stealing the slaves off of them and bringing them into his crew, and everybody lauded him as being anti-slave, and that all the pirates should be like him. You know, modern people, not people of the time, but modern people talk about how great a guy he was. But when he retired, he sold his crew. He sold his crew to fund his retirement. So pirates are not the hero of the story. matter matter what you like to think, piracy used to be a legitimate business, though. You used to They used to tell people, it used to be, what's your job? Oh, I'm a pirate. Oh, that's cool. I would have gone into piracy, but yeah, religion. But yeah, piracy used to be a legitimate job. Other countries would hire pirate ships to antagonize their enemies. But they're not the good guys. Don't try to convince yourself they're the good guys. They were quite ruthless. They were all about themselves. And people and women and bags of silver, alcohol, weapons were their choice items to steal. Gold would have been too heavy. This would have been quite a lot. You know what? I don't know how much though. Subtle hint. No, I didn't see the subtle hint. What's the subtle hint? Spending an awful lot of time on this part. I need to get a move on. I wonder if we can use Google while I'm doing all this. I probably can't. I'm curious how much this would weigh though. If we had two footlockers, two army footlockers full of doubloons that weigh 6.3 grams apiece, how much would that footlocker weigh? How much would those two footlockers weigh? I'm curious. All right, let's put this big shadow in back here. Let's let that dry for a minute before I overwork it. Let's put this big shadow in back here. Mother's typing furiously. I can hear her little keys going tick, 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 like somebody's wrong on the internet. There's that. And let's use a little hair drying. Let's see. Let me dry this real quick. Pretty sure the settlement is share. The settlement today is to share this. If you're watching this, you probably have friends. If you're watching this, you probably have friends that like it too. Let them know about it. most of this is dry. I just wanted to make sure Ivy got her money's worth out of this. I'm going to start with yellow. I'm going to come back with some ochre, but I'm going to start with yellow. Because I want the places that I miss, I'm going to dry brush the ochre. Then standard American issue footlocker. My mom says she has to know the size of the footlocker, and in World War the U.S. military used to issue footlockers, so you can enter the standard American footlocker. My mother's in the chat. I have her in my ear on an earpiece, and she is looking up the weight of this gold for me. That's fantastic. I have a crew. I have people. I have a producer. I've missed having a producer so much. And she said when she tried to look it up, she's got to know the size of the footlocker so she can look up the volume of the footlocker. But there was a standard size footlocker that the U.S. military issued. But I think this treasure chest is about twice that value. This is the point. This is the point of the drawing where I basically quit looking at the item and just start painting by instinct. And this is always the part where I'm like, oh, it shouldn't have been that color. Now let's come back with some yellow ochre. Let's add just a touch of navy to that. Give it more of a greenish hue. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a dot in front of every one of those dark marks. I'm just going to put a dot. And that'll turn the yellows into highlights. I think that's going to be fine. I'm going to leave it just like it is. Right? Then I'm going to come back with the same thing. I'm going to do a little indigo, a little navy over that burnt sienna to try to give it more of a brown look. If you do that, it's important to go back over the shaded areas too. Otherwise, they won't get darker. And the rest of your How many grams are in a ton? 48,000 grams. Is that one or two footlockers? You guys can't hear my mother. My mother says it's 48,000 grams. But she can't hear me until it's one. So 48,000 grams is 96,000 grams for two chests. What is that in bananas? 96,000 grams is, I don't know, how many pounds is 96,000 grams? All right, let me dry this real. 1 ton is 1,000,000 grams, so it's not quite a ton. Let me dry this real quick. Getting late today. I don't care. It's Saturday. I don't have anywhere to go. But we're almost finished. We're almost finished. I'm having a fun conversation with my mom, and in my ear, she's answering questions I asked 10 minutes ago because she's watching the show and she's responding to things I said a while ago. So we're having our own private little conversation, which is cool, but it's delayed. We're running late today, but we should still be able to finish this. We're almost done. Almost done. Almost finished. The idea of a treasure chest of gold like this, though, was made popular by Treasure Island and the Count of Monte Cristo and other such stories. And what makes it interesting is it's set, it's set during the 1500s. It's set during the height of piracy. It's set during the time period when there were real pirates. But it was written in the time when the money was not silver but gold. And so they used gold because that's what everybody dreamt about when it was written, not because that's what pirates would have sought after. And so pirate booty would not have been gold because it wasn't it was valuable, but it wasn't the coin of the realm. It wasn't what you could trade on. You couldn't buy alcohol, weapons, and women with it. Which is what they were really interested in. And the word booty is a German word, Bute. It means spoils of war. It means winnings. It means things you fought and won for. Pirate booty. Pirate booty was silver and alcohol and women. All the way up until the 70s when you got Casey and the Sunshine Band singing Shake Your Booty. So there's my booty. So there is my version of the pirate chest next to the photograph. Let's see what it looks like from my perspective. Let me, you know what? I never put my microphone on, so my camera is going to be muted. That's all right. That's okay. At least I recorded it. Safely eject. All right, let's see here. Camera. Let's see if we can see it from my perspective. No, I was more over here. Yeah. The little microphone that I put on my shirt, that's the one that provides sound to my phone. My mom says, "What microphone?" The little microphone that I wear on my shirt, that one's the one that goes to my phone. So there's what I did. Oh no, the little girl wasn't here to pull out an egg for us. I have to go get an egg. I have to go get an egg. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm just going to go back here down this long hall and get an egg. I'll just be a moment. And I had to come all the way back here to the studio again with an egg. It's a good thing I was wearing clothes. Let's see here. Today's pajama day. Saturday's pajama day. Let's see what's in this egg. Don't know until we open the egg. It's a giraffe. This one is from the Houston Zoo, I believe. It's a giraffe. So tomorrow we're going to be drawing a giraffe. Tomorrow, Sunday, the 27th, I believe. So if you're watching this 5:30 in the morning, it's before 5:30 in the morning on Sunday, the 27th, then you're watching the trailer, and this is where we're about to draw. So stick around, we'll get right on it. But for the rest of us, I think we've had a pretty exciting morning. That is going to be it today. Yeah, they're coming back today. My family's coming back today, so I'll get to see them here in just a few hours. I'm really looking forward to it because I've missed them. I got this spot in the middle of my back that itches. Can't wait till my wife gets home. All right, so thank you so much for joining me. You know, I look forward to this every day when I get to come down here and I get to art with my besties, and it keeps me accountable to my art practice, and I get to chat with my mom because that's really the highlight of the whole thing. So thank you so much for joining me. Be sure and tune in tomorrow, same Artistic Biker time, same Artistic Biker channel, and then we dance. We dance until somebody says they see me dancing, because that is how we know that the lag has caught up to the stream and I won't get cut off mid-sentence. We don't want to get cut